Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is David, the Sunrise to Others, coming back at you with another live video. And today I want to talk to you about a comment and some data that I got from Dr. T. Hassan Johnson on his show, where they were talking about, I forget what show it was. Anyway, so here's the comment he said on the show. He said, there has never been a year in American history where black men have gotten more college degrees than black women. Okay, and so he also posted the data. So I'm just going to give a few data points here just so you can contextualize what that statement actually means. And I'm going to go into some details to help you understand what you're talking about when you're looking at the black community in its totality. Okay. So again, he said, there has never been a year in American history where black men have gotten more college degrees than black women. Okay. So since 1976 to 2018, here's the data. When you talk about certificates, so like nursing certificates or things like that matter. Black women, 1,934,302. Black men, 1,019,000. So 1 million black men, 2 million black women certified certificates. Associate's degree, meaning two years. You got a 2-year degree from a junior college. Black men, 698,961. So that's 700,000. Black women, 1,404,860. So 1.4 million black women. So that's double. I want you to understand. Already in each category, black women have got double the number of degrees that black men have. Bachelor's degrees. Black men, 1 million. So it's 4-year degrees, bachelor degrees. Black men, 1,118,004. Black women, 2,078,099. Again, double the number. Master's degrees. Black men since 1976, 470,276. Black women, 953,466. So black men, 400,000 master's degrees. Black women, 1 million master's degrees. And PhDs, black men, 75,459 since 1976. And black women, 132,617. So again, double. Black women have double the college degrees as black men since 1976. Now, here's why this matters, right? It's not. There's several reasons. There are several levels of analysis that we have to give consideration to this conversation on, right? The first one is that women date across and up. Across and up. Women do not date down, right? Women date across and up, right? So when you think about our marriages, our family structures, you need to think about that, right? Women marry across and up. That's the first thing. The second thing is you don't get a college degree without having been tracked through a particular system, right? So in 2010, I believe it was, there was a documentary called Waiting for Superman. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. You need to see it, right? You need to see the movie, the documentary Waiting for Superman. It came out in 2010. I went to see it in 2010 at the movie theater. I couldn't wait for it to come out on DVD. I had to go see it. And so in the documentary, they explain that schools track students. Okay? Schools track students. What that means is they take a look at your test scores. So every school has a certain number of slots available for upward advancing programs, right? In other words, all the students in the school are not AP students, are not advanced placement students, right? They're not AP students, right? So each school has a number of AP students that they can put in those classes, okay? And so they look at the test scores, then the teachers decide what students get tracked to those classes. I was one of those students. I got chose for AP chemistry. I got chose for AP, some AP math course, whatever. I at the time I wasn't that focused. I really didn't even want to be in the AP class because even though I was in a school that was like 85% black, it was almost all white people in the class. And if my parents had been focused enough, they would have forced me to stay in the class. I actually opted out of the class. Anyway, the point I'm making is students get tracked. And there's only so many spots that you can get tracked. So let's say there are 100 students in the school that can take AP chemistry, but the class is only set up for 30 students. So what happens to the other 70 students? Well, they get tracked through regular chemistry. So you have a lot of students who are getting tracked through basic science, pre-algebra, right? Like, they're lower classes. They're lower level classes. And you get tracked to lower level classes. Now, here's the thing that I find interesting when you talk about the black women getting double the number of college degrees at every level than black men since 1976. Here's the thing that's interesting, right? So, you have to know that black boys are put into remedial classes at a higher rate than every other student, right? Black boys are suspended at a higher rate than every other student. And so what you start to see, and I want to point out to you, here's the thing that's interesting, because I told you about the slots. Now, you need to understand this. When black boys are put in all black schools, they outperform almost every category of almost all black students, and they're competing with Asian students, so on and so forth. So you have these charter schools, like in Chicago, where 100% of the boys are given go to college, right? Go to college. Now, I need you to understand this. This is why you need to understand this. I'm telling you this, okay? And I got this from Dr. T. Hassan Johnson and Dr. Tommy Curry in his book, The Man Not. You need to understand this, how we're being tracked as black males. Now, one of the things Dr. T. Hassan Johnson talks about is that there is a massive underdevelopment of black males. A massive underdevelopment of black males. And so what you see in the data where black women are twice as likely, listen, we come out the same households, we come out the same genetic pool, everything is the same about us. So the question is, if everything is the same, if we come out the same house, if we come out the same bodies, my mom had 5 children. My sister has 3 children. I have 7 children. All of my children come out the same. Why are black boys fundamentally failing at every level of analysis? How is that possible? How is it possible that we come from the same genes, the same houses, the same schools, everything's the same? I'm sorry, but black boys are perpetually falling. They have the highest rate of dropouts. They have the highest rate. Young black males have the highest rate of homicide. Everything is the worst for us. How is that possible when we come out of the exact same structures? How is it possible? Black girls come out of single-parent homes. Black boys come out of single-parent homes. Black boys come out of these failing schools. Black girls come out of these failing schools. So the question is, how are black women doubling at every level? Certificates, associates, bachelors, masters, and PhDs. Every level they're outperforming us. And remember, I told you from the outset, women marry across and up. Across and up. You got to understand that. So when you look at our family structures, you got understand that there are 1 million black men missing. 1 million. We always talk about the black girls missing, and we should. We should talk about any problem black people have. I'm sorry, guys. I always forget to turn my ringer off. So any problem any problems that we have in the black community, they are our problems. But somehow our women are being tracked in a different level. And then what you see is this idea of manning up, right? This idea of manning up. Black men need to man up. Black men need to step up. Black men need to do this. Black men need to do that. Everything black men need to do. But when you look structurally, right, at the life of black boys, and I've said this in a recent post, it seems to me that there's a detachment between the black boy and the black man. It's as if the black man just appeared, that he was never a black boy, that he didn't come out of these households, that he didn't come out of these schools, that he's not being invited into the upper echelons of this society. And when you talk about the promotion of the black male, right? Like, just understand. Oh, I was talking about the missing million black men. There are a million black men that don't show up in any analysis except death. They don't show up until they die. So maybe they're homeless. They're completely off the grid. They don't show up in the workforce. They don't show up anywhere until they're dead. And then that doesn't even include the almost 1 million black men in prison, right? And that 1 million black men in prison are just the black men who are in prison right now. It doesn't even include the fact that 1 out of 3 black males will find themselves in the penal system. 1 out of 3. So listen, when I tell you that these schools they track everybody. They don't just track black people. What I'm suggesting to you, though, that it is blatantly obvious. It is blatantly obvious that black males are being pushed down at every level of analysis. Every level of analysis. But the expectation on black males is not, it doesn't match how we're being manufactured through this system. It doesn't match how we're being manufactured through this system. And this is a problem. It's a problem because we are conduits to this. We put our boys in those schools. We create these home environments for our boys where they cannot thrive. They can't thrive. It's not that they're not trying hard enough. There is no space for black male success. It doesn't exist. And the data proves it. The data proves it. That's why 1 out of 3 are in jail. Listen, if black boys were being tracked appropriately, right, to their skill set and to their level, one of the things, I listened to a documentary, I listened to a podcast from Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks about, there's a grade, I forget what it is, it might be the 3rd grade, it might be the 8th grade. If you don't maximize the potential of a student by the 8th grade, they can't recover. They can't recover. So you have until the 8th grade to get it right. After the 8th grade, they fall off. They fall off. And that's what's happening to us. We have the highest high school dropout rate, black males. Do you understand that? And so what that means is that's going to determine how black males relate to each other. So everybody keep talking about black on black crime. But nobody's talking about these structural systems that produce males that are going to kill each other. They're going to kill each other. There is no other option. Because at the bottom where we coalesce at the bottom of everything. Right? I tell you every time, this is a Hunger Game scenario. If you've never seen the movie Hunger Game, you need to go watch it. Right? You need to go watch it so you can understand what I'm saying to you. Now, people are going to say, well, I'm a black male, I do okay. Listen, I'm a black male, I do okay. I made $80,000 last year. $80,000 with no high school. I dropped out of college my freshman year. Right? Because I had a bunch of stuff that was going on in my mind. So last year, I worked a lot, but I worked hard to make that money. So, but I'm saying, I hate to even say this. I am exceptional. I have been a manager of black males for the last 5 years. I don't have one black male that I can train into a management position because he comes to me so far behind where he needs to be to compete in this market. And you guys are talking about we need more black businesses. Like, oh my God, man, we have no idea of the situation that has occurred with us as a community, as a society. We are beating black men down. We are smashing them. And then saying, why you ain't competing? Why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing that? But just go look at the AP classes and see how many black men are in those AP classes. Go see how many black men are in the National Honor Society. Just go look. I watch the NAEP scores every year. Every year. Black, in 2012, I'll post this stuff on my page. In 2012, only 17% of all black students were proficient in math and science. 17%. That's 17 out of 100. And I can promise you the vast majority of those are girls, are black girls. The data set that I was looking at didn't separate between black boys and black girls. But I'm telling you, I'm just telling you. Now, and the problem is that we talk about black families, black family structures, black men as the head of household. Like, it's unthinkable that you are going to have black men who are competent as husbands, as the head of household, given the systematic way that we manufacture black men. The systematic way that we manufacture black men. Right? Now, here's the thing. Right? Black women are the most educated women in America. And my question to you is, why am I telling you this then? Why is Dr. T. Hassan Johnson telling you this? Why is Tommy Curry telling you this? Why is it black men at the forefront of telling you there is a crisis with black males? Where are these educated black women? Why aren't they speaking out for their own goddamn sons? It's insane. It's insane. And so I'm telling you, when I talk about feminism as the devil's cauldron, it is the devil's cauldron. We don't need that. And I grant it, I'm saying to you black women, I am pleading to you to understand this. I get your problem with us. I get it. I ain't never told a black woman that she didn't have a justifiable beef to have with us. Never. But I'm saying, men are manufactured. They are manufactured. They don't just happen. They don't just happen. And if we want good men, we have to be honest about our investment into our boys. Because that is important. I'm not saying that our investment to our girls are important. But remember from the outset, I told you, women marry across and up. Men marry across, up, and down. So it is imperative that we understand the necessity for us to produce viable black men. And where the system is failing us, all of us collectively need to come together and be against that system that is doing this to our men.